If we're not quite done, it's fine. You can think about this exercise as you go. Just need 20 seconds.
Still wait.
Okay. Well then, maybe while you finish up, does someone have a finished one that they would like to share? There are 3 paragraphs. Their intro. Yeah, please. Still going. It's an intro. It's not the whole story.
And we used to be continued.
Yeah, of course. Please.
Difficult to make the thoughts in English. It is too hot. I can't sleep. I get the idea to go to the outside and sleep on a beach. First I find a plastic bed and go to sleep. I sleep in the moment. I woke up, I wake up a little and see the moon came to me. It was too big. I scared a little bit, but then I realized that I dreamed. Moon disappeared quickly. I changed the side of the bed and see the moon through the sea. And then I close the eyes, come the sun and say,
There we go. Nice, very nice. Thank you. It's the whole story right there in one paragraph. It's great. Yeah, please.
I was at my grandmother's house, far from the city noise, far from the stampede of modern civilization, only silence and the happy chirping of forest birds. Warming myself in front of the fireplace, something was grabbing my attention. The traditional vase and killa, my great-grandmother's artwork, stood proudly, as if calling my name. Its symbols and colors, arranged in harmonious contrast, seemed to me like hieroglyphics begging to be deciphered. I was awoken from this idyllic daydream by notification on my phone, neither an antimatter, a news article. I looked over at the symbols. The fire went out, but an idea lit up.
There we go. Ooh, goosebumps. Very nice. Very nice. And that's then your next paragraph. It leads right into your next paragraph. I want to know more. What is this idea? You've lit up with the fire going out. Idea. Beautiful. Really, really nice. Really nice. Anyone else? Yeah, please.
Isn't it ironic to leave the warming vicinity of your family to visit the coldest place on Earth for half a year, just to very, very slightly increase our knowledge about climate change? My name is John, and this is my story.
Very nice. Yeah, family. Leaving your family to go to the coldest place. Very nice. Yeah?
When you are a parent, one of the most important things in life becomes how to provide children with a healthy and safe childhood, how to minimize the risks to provide within the limits of their capabilities, the best possible start position in life. Get your child on the right track, reduce risks, reduce chances, and health is certainly one of the biggest cards for that good start position. Mirka and Almir are just one couple of deeply believing science society to entrust umbilical cord stem cells to such companies. Story about the companies to preserve umbilical cord cells, and there was a big scam in the region on that issue.
Yeah.
So this is a story about Mirka and Almir, they were doing how technical.
Yeah.
Kids, but they failed because the company was in bankruptcy, and now they don't know where their umbilical cord cells, stem cells are.
Right. And I mean, that's a really, stem cells, where they come from, this kind of thing, it can be a very sensitive topic for a lot of people and a very abstract topic for a lot of people. But by introducing kids right away, that's something everyone knows, and anyone who's a parent wants the best for their children.
Same tactics that anti-vaccine is using, our fears and our emotions.
Yeah.
Especially about kids.
Yeah.
So start with that to keep people interested.
Yeah. And And this is actually, I'm glad you said that. It's something I normally say at the beginning of the presentation, but I forgot. This is exactly why misinformation spreads. We're all concerned with misinformation. We're all concerned about anti-vax, flat earth, all of these things. And as scientists, we're sitting here scratching our heads being like, how can this be? How can this be that people, are questioning vaccines that we've had for, 30, 40 years, whatever? It's because those people are telling a better story. They're telling a better story, and fear is a big motivator in a story, and they're using that. So they're telling a better story than we're telling. That's why the facts are losing, if you want to put it that way. It's because we're not telling good stories. So does anyone else want to share one before we go? Yeah?
Okay. I can't recall when was the first time I've heard about quantum entanglement, but every time I hear those words, it really frustrates me because I still have no idea what the hell is actually happening there. If you don't know either or you've never heard of it, welcome to club. Legend says that if you want to talk about little things like atoms or fundamental particles, you have to use something called quantum numbers. And those are like names and surnames of an atom or those particles, but they have a lot of them. So sorry for those because I crossed over something. And if you consider two electrons like twin brothers, you can see that they're very, very similar, but they can never be exactly the same if they're in the same room. So let's say the one of them has a beard. Just a second. And everything else must be exactly the same. So I couldn't finish my story, but I wanted to say that you always have to, because if you can be in the same state in the same time, one of them has to quickly shave off its beard, and other one has to grow it like fast. But this story has to be continued.
Yeah. And that's a really good example of metaphors and examples. You create the characters represent the particles, and they have to go through this thing. You could even, on the editing process, I could see you cutting that down and not even introducing quantum numbers or anything like that. You did a good job of explaining it and giving us an example of the surnames, but you could eliminate that in the first 3 paragraphs and just tell us about these weird twins, where if one shaves his beard, hair sprouts out of the other one, immediately. And yeah, so really nice, very good. Yeah.
Last night I was laying in my bed and I wondered about my thoughts. I noticed that some of my thoughts come and go. Some are always there with me, my eternal friends, and some thoughts, and this scared me, will never come to me. And then I realized the same game happens with those tiny light bubbles, stars, above my head, far above my head in the darkness of the universe.
Very nice. I really like the line of being afraid that some thoughts will never come to you. It's a bit abstract, but it's like I actually connected with that right away, and that's one of, I think, the beautiful things of science is like the not knowing, but then there's that fear of like, what if I don't figure it out? What if I can't get that answer? What if I really like that. That's a nice line. Okay, so that's the example. That's the, you can already see everyone's great job. Like, and I feel like once we get this in our mindset that this is how we need to tell the science stories, with this making them personal, finding the characters, that's our job, is to find the characters, find the scene in which they operate, give the audience that color, give them that emotion, give them that story that they can follow along with. We're all going to be much better communicators. I think everyone kind of did it like as themselves. A quick example, I did a writing workshop, and this is one that I really like. The student came up with, he was a programmer working with algorithms and things like this. He came up with, his intro was a family member of someone who had died because of a self-driving car accident. And this character in these first 3 lines was searching for answers, from the car manufacturer. Why did my family member have to die? What went wrong? And the programmer said, we don't know. I don't have an answer for you. And he set up this tension between these 2 characters that he completely invented. He didn't know these, like it was a totally fictional thing, But then it set up this problem of the algorithms, the self-driving cars, and a lot of times the programmers don't even know what's going on with the algorithm. They're just kind of like, well, it just works, you know? So, interesting example. So, well done, everyone. I think that was great. Here's something that I just say, like, you want to practice storytelling? Do it with your friends, your roommates, your family, people from other departments. Tell them the story of why you do what you do. Don't tell them what you do. Tell them why you do it. What excites you about it? That kind of thing. Like I said, begin with, here's how I get interested in what I'm doing, and then, why I think that's important. Make it a little personal. Tell the story of you doing your work. Be the hero of the narrative. What's your quest? What's your journey? So I got to finish my PhD. I'm trying to find this thing because it's important for this. View it in those terms. You can work on an elevator pitch, so kind of like what we just did here, but you have 30 seconds to explain to someone your research, why it's important. 30 seconds, that's it. Try and come up with that, or come up with these 3 sentences like we just did, 3 or 4 sentences like we did. Something I haven't done yet, but I think it would be really interesting, consider doing a no-text presentation. Only use symbols and pictures to tell the story of your work. See what you might be able to come up with. And consider writing for a general audience. Writing is a nice way to think about story. It's something that we can all do, and you can really edit and revise. Podcasting, video, sometimes it's a bit more difficult, I think, to sort of get into that frame because you have to be the voice on the microphone or you have to be the face in front of the camera. It can be a little challenging to get into. But start with a blog, newsletter, opinion pieces, write something for the website of your institution, something like this. But writing is a really great way to explore story, explore characters. You guys all did a great job in 15 minutes coming up with something, So I would encourage people to do that. And yeah, this is just my information. You can stay in touch with me if you have any questions, things like that. And just remember, we're storytellers. We're communicators, we're storytellers. Know your audience, find the characters, find the setting, make an interesting plot, and tell really great stories for people. Thanks, guys. Yeah, and then questions, I guess, if anyone has questions.
I have a question.
Yeah.
What is your favorite parasite and why?
Favorite parasite and why? Well, obviously the one I worked on because it does the mind control on ants. It's a little known.
Emerald wasp. Emerald drill wasp. Emerald wasp or copper.
No. It's even better than that. It's called Dicrocinium dendriticum, and not many people know about it, but it comes from Europe. And it made its way with animals all the way to Canada, and has silently kind of invaded Canada and the wildlife in Canada. That's the intro right there. We can talk about the specifics of the zombie angle over coffee. Yeah.
What do you think the ultimate quest for science is? To collect some sort of base of objective truths, or to make the best story of the universe?
I mean, it's both, I think, right? Like you need the facts, you need the things to inform the story, right? But like the story of how the Earth was created, how the universe was created, that's a story, right? Like, and we're trying to find the pieces to fill in that story, right?
The story motivates science.
Yeah. Kind of, yeah, and it depends on the question that you're asking, right? What facts do I need to tell that story? What information might I need to tell that story? But it's really like, science is the process, right? It's the method of getting this stuff that we call evidence and things. And then the question is, what do we do with that evidence? A lot of times as scientists, we just think, well, what's the next question? How do I get more evidence to answer that next question? Or I'm trying to cure cancer, what do I do for that? But when we're transmitting the knowledge, when we're transmitting why we're doing that, when we want people to understand what we're doing, we're telling stories. And I think when you're looking at basic research of just trying to understand how the world works, well, how the world works, how nature works, is a story. It's the story of how things work.
Yeah, that's my point. It's not the storytelling. It's not about popularization of science. I think that is the key. What motivates scientists in the first place to do science.
Yeah.
It's not about public.
Yeah.
It's about scientist himself.
Definitely. I think thinking about these things in the absence of, you know, oh, I need to get this out to the public is an important thing. And you can see how it can change the way that you think about your work and give you a new, fresh kind of angle to think about it. We get like sort of beaten into these ways of thinking about science and thinking about our work that it's just the next paper, the next thing, the next thing. But like sit back and think about why you do what you do. It's an interesting story. So yeah, I think I agree with you. All right. Nothing else. I guess it's